Hey, welcome back to another episode of Split Screen Gamers, where a couple nerds talk about video games. And today, we got a triple header of topics to dive into. First up, EA pulls the plug on its much-anticipated Black Panther game and shuts down Cliffhanger Games. Bummer. Then, CD Projekt Red confirms that Cyberpunk 2 is officially in pre-production, and yes, that's what they're calling it. And lastly, Hideo Kojima's mind-bending masterpiece Death Stranding is set to get not just an anime adaptation, but also a live-action film, courtesy of A24. In today's spotlight, we got the Bungie Controversy, once the gold standard in gaming. Their latest title, Marathon, is stirring up controversy, and we're taking a hard look at it. Man, what a rise and fall from them. Now, without further ado, put your headphones on, get your tea ready, and let's get active.
Your weekly power-up of video game news, updates, and industry buzz. From blockbuster releases and indie gems to hardware drops, studio shakeups, and everything in between, we break it all down. This is Split Screen Gamers.
We have.
Yo, dude.
Did that hurt your ears? I'm sorry, bro. That hurt your ears?
No, you're good, dude.
Okay,
you're
cool.
good. I mean, I'm only going deaf in like my right ear, so
Okay,
hey,
good.
it's fine.
Sweet.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's a certain. I've attuned my laugh into a certain frequency that only hits the right pan of the headphones. That's why your right ear is going deaf, bro.
Oh God.
Yeah.
it's like all the levels is going to the right and stuff.
Corey from God of War hit me up and he was like, "I want to put you as a monster in the next God of War game."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like when you go in the corner of the game, all you hear is ah, and it's just me standing there. Such a dumb concept.
Yeah, naked. Yeah, you're like what is that mythological creature? It's they have like they're like goats and such. They're
Chandler, I know you're racist, but where are you going with this?
No, it's not, no. I'm not racist, dude. I'm just saying like it's
someone who's racist would say.
Nah. It's an actual like Greek mythological.
No, I know
creature.
what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. You're talking about Meryl Streep.
Well, there's layers to her. There's layers. There's a reason why she's won 3 Oscars. Damn it. There's a reason why.
That's because she went to the Bohemian Grove, bro.
She did.
That's
she
a deep
did.
cut. That's a deep cut. Well, guys, we have a lot, dude. We have a lot on the calendar today. I mean, what is going on? Can we catch a break, bro? There's a lot of gaming news going on, dude.
Dude, whenever I was like designing this like, layout, I was like, damn, there's a lot of like, news out there. There's stuff that I didn't even like put in this list and whatnot. So I was just like, what can we like talk about and stuff, man?
When is the Summer Games Fest stuff going on? Is that coming up soon?
Yeah, that's June. That's June. That's like, I think that's early to mid-June. But here's the thing about that. So Nintendo and Sony haven't even announced that they're gonna like participate in the Summer Games Fest.
Yeah,
like they're still kind of on like the fringes and stuff. And plus, they do their own directs. They do their own little like showcases and whatnot. So that's the whole reason why they got away with, or they got away from E3, so that they can have more control and more like power to like their way of presenting like their titles and whatnot.
Right.
But Xbox is always there because, well, like we talk about in the first episode, who the fuck is like buying an Xbox here, So so yeah, dudes, it's interesting. But I think Ubisoft's going to participate, and then EA's there too, which EA they did another round of layoffs, man, so
and that leads us into our first topic, bro. So this comes from IGN. EA is canceling its planned Black Panther game and shutting down developer Cliffhanger Games. Wow. In an email sent to staff from EA Entertainment, President Laura Meal said that these changes, alongside other recent cancellations and layoffs, are being done to sharpen our focus and put our creative energy behind the most significant growth opportunities. A very corporate response. In addition to closing Cliffhanger and canceling Black Panther, EA is also laying off some individuals on both its mobile and central teams. When asked for an exact number of individuals impacted, EA declined to comment, of course. IGN understands the total number of affected individuals in this wave is less than the roughly 300 roles cut last month across Respawn and EA's fan care teams, but cannot confirm how much. And Meal said these decisions are hard. They affect people we've worked with, learned from, and shared real moments with. We're doing everything we can to support them, including finding opportunities within EA where we've had successes helping people land in new roles. Oh my goodness. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
yeah.
Very
It's a
corporate
lot.
response.
It is, and very robotic as always with any kind of corporate response. It's like, yeah, it sucked that we had to, you know, ruin these people's livelihoods, but at the same time, we're pressing forward with like other opportunities and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, well, tell that to the people that you like let go and whatnot, and see how they felt and whatnot. Which, in gaming, like, that's such a common norm to just like let your teams go and stuff. Kind of like the same thing with the Marvel Rivals, even though that's been a big success. But alas, what is it called? Tencent. They're like, yeah, we're gonna get rid of this entire team and like this studio and just restructure and reformat how we do things and whatnot. So, and coming from EA, I mean, I'm not really surprised. So that's like one of the other reasons why I even like put this like story in, because A, it's breaking news, but B, it's another reason why people should not like EA. So it's just like one of those factors where people are just coming to terms with, they're just, it's no surprise that they would do something like this. And this is like the third or fourth round of layoffs that they've done.
Yeah.
So it's just like, obviously they're trying to like gear up for more efficient like productivity. And with the emergence of AI, I mean, they're obviously going to be using that. So
Of course.
yeah, because it's going to save them a couple of pennies, bro. It's going to save them like a couple of like, dimes and nickels, So yeah. So I don't know what you guys think, but that's just how I feel, man.
Yo, I was gonna say, I mean, look, I do like that they, she said, Laura Mills said that they're going to try to move some of these employees into areas in which EA has found prior successes in. I think that's something that, I mean, look, it's a corporate response. I get it. Somebody's getting laid off. We know that, and as a company, that's probably inevitable at some point. But I do agree with you, Chandler, with the gaming industry. It reminds me of summer jobs, kind of. You remember when we were kids and we used to get these summer jobs in school, and it would, something to kind of get you some extra cash while you enjoyed your summer off. It was obvious that after the summer was finished, or a Christmas job is another example. It was obvious after the holiday season is finished that you're going to get laid off. It's like, it was very apparent. The only difference is that game companies don't do that. It's almost like, let's bring in an influx of talented people, developers, etc., to complete this game, and then while we're in the transition phase of figuring out our next title, etc., it's like, let's lay off a bunch of people. And that's something that I don't know enough to make a bold claim on whether that's the gaming industry thing, but it's the only industry in which I hear news about it. And so that's the part that gets a little weird. Now, I could be completely ignorant in the fact, but it does seem like that EA is taking some steps to move people into roles that they found prior successes in, which I think is a positive to take away from this. Is that, look, hey, to be honest, look, they're coming up against this new Marvel's game with the Captain America and Black Panther. So like, I'm sure that they're like, yo, we're not going to compete with Amy Hennig and in that team over there, etc.
Yeah.
Like, this Black Panther game, because they had that one game that sucked with Black Panther and all the other people in it, and it's like, was that was them, right?
The Marvels?
Yeah, that was
well, that was I think that was Square Enix, actually.
Oh, that's even worse, because Square Enix makes good games.
Yeah, it sucked, and like, it also sucked that it was coming from Square Enix and whatnot, and nobody liked the game. It was boring. It was also just heavy on microtransactions, which another superhero game actually did that, which is the Suicide Squad game that came out of Rocksteady.
Which sucks, because Rocksteady could have been in GOAT status.
Yeah, which there's a good metaphor with that developer that I want to pitch in whenever we are talking about Bungie. But yeah, no, 100%. Like, Rocksteady, shit the bed essentially. But yeah, but that Marvel game, bro. I mean, I was looking so much into it, but then it came out and like, it sucked, dude. It was one of those games you were like really hoping that it would be great, but it was a disappointment. So
yeah, well, it sucks. And look, you got Amy Hennig, who is the GOAT, and obviously makes really good games that are action adventure, and they got a game coming out. Like, I think probably canceling the Black Panther game as a concept is probably makes sense. Like, and it probably, honestly, for the company, it makes sense probably, because superhero content gets a lot of scrutiny to begin with.
So a lot of fatigue,
etc. And you got to do it at a high level, like Spider-Man, or Batman or anything like that. It's like you have to do it at a high level if you want to make it good. And so, I think they probably made a good decision in that. I was going to say, like later in the article here, it says that they're smoking. Some of these like transitions and the successes that they're working on are The Sims, Battlefield, Skate, Apex Legends. So like, hopefully they can put some of those people in those teams. I mean, I know I'm a huge fan. I put Skate 3 up there with like my greatest games of all time. I love Skate 3. I played it. I probably put way too many hours in that game, and super fun, very slept on game. And for them to not have a new one is crazy. So that I know they've been in development of this new one for years, and there's a lot of updates on the social media accounts, etc. So like getting more people over there to that world would be great. So like hopefully they mitigate the amount of layoffs a lot. Now I want to say before we continue though, they did specifically say that while they're canceling the Black Panther game, there's going to be a continued investment within the Iron Man game, Star Wars Jedi game, and so as well as working on some of their mobile titles as well, which I care nothing about. But so it's just Black Panther. It's not like Iron Man or anything like that is going to get completely cut yet. You know what I mean?
I also want to point out that we have no idea if this Black Panther game would have actually been good. We have no idea. We also don't know how far along it was in development and whatnot. So there's no like telling like if it would have actually come out and be like a bestseller. So that's another thing about like whenever a game you hear about gets canceled and whatnot. So it could have been like just not going anywhere, and EA was like, screw it, we're just gonna cut this project, reorganize, and then lay off like a bunch of people. Mm-hmm. But the other hand is like, the game was in further enough development where EA was seeing it and they weren't liking what they were seeing. Mm-hmm. So they pretty much cut their losses and maybe did like a tax write-off too, which, you don't have to go public with that actually. If you're like doing that for like a movie or a TV show or a video game, you don't have to like specify to the public that you did a tax write-off, but you do have to like specify to the government that you are doing a tax write-off. So I don't know. So it's one of those things, dudes.
Well, yeah, man, I actually have garnered a lot of respect for EA, and so I do.
Really?
Okay. Well, I say that because they've had some real hits, like bro, like me and you. One of our like the beginning of our friendship really was like Battlefield. Remember that, bro? Like me and you, we met with DICE. Yeah, and EA made that game, right? I thought.
Yeah, EA published it. I think so. DICE developed it, but EA published it. So yeah,
gotcha.
You are. Yeah,
but I remember me and you jumped in there and we were playing it. Like that was the one set in the past, and we played that for a while, dude. And like they also made Skate, and I'm not a big fan of sports game, but I have found a lot of joy in some of them. I used to play in NCAA like when I was a kid all the time because they had like the high school to college thing, and I've even played some NFL games, and so. Or some Madden games, Madden, and because they had the story where you could like be in high school, go to college, and then make it to NFL. I just like the whole like idea of like leveling up. So that was something. So they have good games, and look, their sports. I don't want to get into too much into it, but their sports games are just literally copy and paste. But
they dominated that market.
Dude. And the Madden games are well made. Like they're copy and paste, but like what more do you want from a sports game? You know what I mean? Like it's.
And not just Madden, but FIFA, dude. Like
do they make FIFA?
Yeah, they make
FIFA. Incredible.
Yeah, which funny enough, FIFA is no longer called like FIFA like 2025. They had to change the name to FC like 25 and going forward because they lost the name to FIFA. They lost the naming right to name their games after the organization because of like rights issues and just like other factors where they just don't want to pay for the licensing anymore. So going forward, it's just going to be called EA or FC, whatever, every single year. So fun fact. So
I did not know that. Well, I think that kind of garnered a GOAT status when it comes to that because look, man, a lot of people find a lot of joy in those games, and so EA is the centerfold of that. Like EA Sports, it's in the game. Like we all know that. Like so, I think they get a lot of grace from my end because I think they are actually more for the players than people give them credit for because they make a lot of games. Like they make a lot of games. Like Ubisoft makes a lot of games. Like they make a lot of stuff, and like also they published the Take-Two or sorry not Take-Two, It Takes Two and the Split Fiction and all that, like which are winning Game of the Year. It's like so they I feel like people give them a hard rap because they seem like they just seem like a huge corporate Ubisoft or whatever. But like bro, they don't have which we'll definitely get into at some point. But they do not have the repertoire of Ubisoft at all. Like no one compares them at all to Ubisoft is getting literally Ubisoft is getting. They're like a piece of tissue that someone's taking, spreading their legs and swiping gooch to crack up. Because people are not rocking with Ubisoft right now, dog.
No, they're not. No,
and EA does not get that rep.
Not. No, I feel bad for them, man.
Crazy. I don't know where I was going with that. I've never done that. That was just something that came up in my head.
Bro, it looked like you were holding a gun or something for a sec. I was just like, David, where's this going, dude?
Anyways, like, Chris, bro, are you an EA fan, bro? Or are you? What you
I mean, definitely EA. The first thing I think of is EA Sports, always. And I don't know. To me, that's what I've kind of always remembered them as. And you're right. Those always felt like copy and paste. I guess like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, though.
Right.
Yeah.
But I hadn't realized, I was looking at that while you were talking, how many they've actually done. Like Battlefield, Dead Space.
Dead Space? Are you
Medal
serious?
Of Honor.
Yeah, they've done Dead Space. They do
Plants
like
vs. Zombies.
They did what?
Yeah, that too.
Plants vs. Zombies apparently too.
What? That's a classic.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
dude.
So I don't think I actually realized the reputation they actually have.
They also did like all the Harry Potter games too, which I used to play. Yeah, they did all the Harry Potter games. They used to publish all those, and those were always fun. So yeah, no, 100%. Before like Warner Brothers created their own like game studio and their own publishing house, like that's how like a lot of like the Harry Potter games were actually distributed was through EA. Mm-hmm. So it's
I didn't realize. Well, dude, EA's GOAT status, bro. We need to stop. We need to put some respect on Electronic Arts, dog, because they're out here really doing it. Now, talking about GOAT status, before we get into some of the controversy over at who's making Marathon again? Is it
Bungie?
Bungie, yeah, bro. Because I Bungie. We'll get into that later. Anyways, before we get into that though, Cyberpunk, bro.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2, dog.
Sequel. And, I know we've talked about this many times, and I've mentioned this to Chris too, but, like, I think Cyberpunk is, like, up there with, like a few other, like, games that have had, like, success stories or redemption arcs, just to, like, specify, like, the kind of story that they fall through. And it's just like one of those situations where it came out, it was dog shit, and then I should know because I picked it up day one. Yeah. And it could not play. It was on a PS4 too. So you can imagine the capabilities of Cyberpunk 2077 running on a PS4 that's on its last leg and just not being able to like function and just being a game in a broken state. So it was really great. I say great. It was really great to experience because I understand, like, the hate that a lot of people, like, had for it when it first came out. It was super buggy. It shut down. It crashed. It was unplayable. It was so unplayable. And that was honestly my second time experiencing a CD Projekt Red game other than whenever you lend me your copy of The Witcher 3, which I only got to like the first hour of it before like not like continuing like to play
which is still I'm still gonna fight you over that, bro. But yeah, go ahead.
I know. You're still upset. I'm deeply sorry. You and my buddy Morgan gives me shit about like selling my Wii U off, which that's a whole different story. But going back to Cyberpunk 2077 sequel and like the whole history with the first game, like it probably has like the best redemption story because CD Projekt Red never gave up on it.
100%, man.
They can. Yeah,
and I picked it up after all that stuff. I wanted to get into it. I always loved the concept. I watched the trailer and I always loved the concept. But once PlayStation took it out of the store, I was like, oh, this game is unfortunately that's an L. Like the story ends there. But I had been a huge fan of The Witcher 3 for so long that I was like, I know this game company can be successful, and I was like, so this must be a corporate thing, which I was right. But once I played Cyberpunk 2077, after all the bugs and stuff were fixed, it became, and I kid you not, it's in my top 5. It's that good, and it's really unfortunate that they had to go through all that. But I had worries that like there's so much controversy around the Cyberpunk name because of that there would never be a sequel, that we would never see more of V's story.
Same, dude.
And I don't think that's the case now because CD Projekt Red is now moving forward with Cyberpunk 2, previously known as Project Orion. The Cyberpunk 2077 follow-up has officially moved from concept to pre-production. This is from The Verge. CD Projekt Red, their sequel to Cyberpunk 2077, which is the studios now calling officially Cyberpunk 2, has moved from conceptual phase into pre-production, according to the earnings report released on Wednesday. So they said actually Cyberpunk 2 is not the official title, but that's what they're calling it. And yeah, they've confirmed it, bro. They haven't shared any details about the game. It's in the works. So I know we have The Witcher 4 coming out next, which, bro, when that comes out, like, the way that I'm literally just going to put on the most tight underwear that I could find, squeeze them up into my crack, and then sit down on the couch with a glass of chocolate milk and my PlayStation controller and just play for 15 hours straight. Like that is, I cannot wait.
Yeah.
Sorry about these scenarios that I keep setting up.
No, it's funny, dude. It's really funny, bro. I can't wait for the day that somebody like comments about them. Honestly, that's what I'm really waiting for, dude.
I'm very visual, dude. So I there's something about being a man baby and playing video games that makes me laugh. Anyways, this is a dumb concept that I'm sure I came up with on a gummy at one point. But yeah,
I hope
can't wait, bro.
I hope somebody like comments and like says, "Oh my god, I actually understand what David's going for. It makes sense." That's what I'm really hoping for because that's what I do whenever we like post like a new episode. I want to see what people are saying, so I can't wait. So,
side note, we did get a comment recently that was like, I expect this type of thing when you're a small creator. It's I've learned to ignore it, whatever, but. It was something about they disagree with something I said, and they said you would disagree with 80% of the gamer population. Like, good luck with your little podcast, bro. LOL. Good luck. We get someone to watch it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I thought it was so ironic because I just responded and said thanks for watching with like the prayer emoji. Because in my head, I'm like, you said thanks for watching, but it's like, bro, thanks for the view, bro. Like you're watching it right now.
Yeah.
And you're commenting, so you're helping the algorithm. It's almost like we are sparking like our ideas, our opinions are. They spark a comment. I mean, that's just I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna get stuff like that. If you're getting 1 million views, people are less inclined to criticize that stuff. It's only when you're small. So I appreciate you guys for watching and listening. If you are, I know we only get like a couple hundred views right now, but yeah, that's gonna happen. No worries.
Yeah.
You know how many comments I get on this channel from playing video games, dude? That like people are like saying stuff about me.
A ton.
Like, someone said that I had the memory of a peanut or something because I couldn't figure out this one puzzle in a game, which is actually kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie. That's a good comeback.
Yeah, it was me that said that. No, I'm joking.
What the hell?
Dog. I'm joking. I'm joking, dude. I'm joking. Nah, man.
All right, we're super off topic. Let's get back to it. We got Cyberpunk 2, dude. So wait, Chris, have you played Cyberpunk?
I have not actually. That's been on my list of. I did the same as you. I got it like pretty recently after everything seems like it got fixed, and I love that dystopian futuristic world that they have. Love an open world. It has been on my list. I'm someone like I know when I get into it, like that's all I'm going to be focusing on, and I have to like really dive deep, and that's like the only thing I'm going to be playing. So it's like I kind of have to like mentally prepare. Like, all right, we're diving in. Here we go. And I don't think I've been trying to like knock out some other things first.
Sure.
Before I go into that, because I know like it's definitely my vibe and my aesthetic, and I'm sure I'm gonna like it. I would be kind of surprised if I didn't. But once I am ready to do it, that's all I'm going to be invested in. So I have to like kind of be ready. And
understood.
Once I get there, then I'll report back as I'm doing it.
Facts.
There you go.
I think the biggest thing I'm intrigued by is like you can change the size of your penis. Apparently, is a whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go as big as possible for sure. Not compensating for anything. But it's cool to see that they kind of like owned it. Did a 180 on it. Came back with all the fixes. And now it's got this good reputation, which I feel like that's probably pretty rare when it comes to gaming too, and being able to maintain your audience and bring back people who might have wanted to throw it aside when it wasn't doing good, or if they just heard the bad reputation that it had and didn't want to pick it up, and be able to come back from that and be so successful that you can do a sequel. Also, it's like pretty amazing. Like it's impressive, and I'm sure they've learned from that too. So I'm going to be curious I'm going to be curious what they are going to do with the sequel, especially like, as technology is advanced and as they can do more with like the PlayStation 5 and
right.
I think it could be really cool. It's talk about like an underdog story,
Oh yeah, dude.
Well, it's sorry, go ahead, Chandler.
Oh, I was gonna say, and like you make a good point. It is a rarity for any studio to come out of like the hellscape that they've created for themselves with like a certain title. It is very rare, and it's only happened like a few other times where the game's being like well received, for the first time since forever, and like two, like there's a larger fan base, which there is a game right now that's getting like a lot of traction. Battlefront 2 from DICE is actually getting like a large amount of players coming back to the game,
really,
for numerous reasons, but that's a discussion for another time. But yeah, no, 100%, it is just a like rags to riches kind of story. So whenever a game like sucks and then does really well, so
here's the thing, man. With I agree with both of you, and here's the thing that I think gives me a lot of hope, because we've seen this a couple times, and the first time I remember seeing something like this was with No Man's Sky, and where they had this incredible concept that everyone was getting behind, and then it failed miserably for numerous different reasons that we don't have to get into, but like then the developers or I always say the team, because it's a lot of people pitching in. Even I know we give the corporate guys who make the financial calls a lot of crap, but like even them, they're part of it. It's like because they got it. Without those guys, you're not making the game. And so like the team, once you get together, it's like yo, like hey, like we've put a lot of time and effort. We know that this game has interest. It's like let's keep supporting it regardless of what. Like let's figure out how to listen. How many times have we been hurt by a company where they don't listen, and it's like they're like, no, let's lock in, let's listen, let's figure out how to make No Man's Sky a better game. And I don't see any different with CD Projekt Red. The Witcher 3 was beloved, and then they came out with something that was, they wanted to do something new. They went from medieval fantasy to sci-fi future, and it's like, okay, here we go. Like, okay, like we're going to make this incredible concept. They had wall running, they had all these things that they had to strip away to try to get the game out. And look, they released it too early because the game was in development for too long, and they don't have the bones and the skeleton that someone like Rockstar has. And so they were like, we got to get this game out early, and there's no excuse for that because they should have waited, and the game should have been polished. It should have came out 5 years later. And yes, they probably would have taken an L on the front end, but look where we're at now. They looked at it and they go, you know what, man, we made a good game. and we released it too early. Let's support our developers. Let's listen to the players. And that game has moved from overwhelmingly negative on Steam to overwhelmingly positive. And we talked about that before. It's like overwhelming. That's a crazy redemption, like you said, Chandler. That's the craziest redemption story I've ever seen. And they just did it, and they did it despite the controversy. They made the game great. And now here we are, because of the legwork that they put on that, here we are, and they're going, you know what? Since we have an overwhelmingly positive review, let's go ahead and put a second game out. And what we're going to get next time, because of their willingness to keep going and fighting, is probably going to solidify itself as a great. Because now they're going to spend as much time as they absolutely want to, because they know what happens when you don't. And we're going to get a great game. We're going to get a crazy game. Like, if it's anything like the first one, but better, it's going to. I can't even imagine what they're going to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
And so sometimes you need like someone like CD Projekt Red, which is a relatively new developer in the popular landscape. They were already making good games, but then they hit the mainstream, and I think they just didn't learn the way of the land, bro. That's it. Yeah. Now that they're in it, it's like now we can probably see them flourish. I think they're going to get up there with like a Rockstar, Naughty Dog level of development from software. I think they're going to get up there if they keep it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And they're also European as well as Rockstar, because here's a funny fact. Nobody realizes that Rockstar is in the UK. Sorry, my alarm clock's going off, but yeah.
You're good, bro.
Rockstar is like... Sorry about that.
No, you're good.
I thought I'd turn off all my alarm clocks this morning, y'all, but that's just... good banter, am I right? But yeah, but a lot of people don't know this, but Rockstar's in the UK, and like, you know,
they make fun of us Americans all the time is crazy work. Then
oh yeah, they love making fun of America, bro. Just look
that
at
actually
the
feels kind of weird
game.
now I think about it.
Yeah.
What the?
Like I saw some comment and whatnot. That of a gun. Yeah, I just see where
Rockstar taking. That's actually a crazy. Like, I've always known that they're in Europe because I see the names that they put below the Rockstar sometimes, and I've never actually thought about it though. It's like it's just a bunch of Europeans being like, "Yo, let's make fun of the Americans." Yeah, and they're really good at it.
Yeah, accurately too.
It's kind of like accurate. Yeah, no, 100%. It's kind of like how like a lot of like actors from like the UK and like other parts of Europe are better at like learning how to like speak like English in our way of like speaking it than like Americans trying to learn a foreign accent. It's actually incredible because a lot of like Americans cannot do a foreign accent right. It just comes off very cartoonish and whatnot. But if you take somebody from like Germany and you ask them to like speak in an American like Southern accent, they'll nail it. It's truly insane. But
that's probably due to us being mainstream media too, though. Like they consume a lot of American art, so we consume less art from other countries than they do of our country. Now I'm just throwing that out there because that makes sense. But also
there's also another.
We're pretty funny, dude. I'm not gonna lie. So like people probably like I think Americans are pretty hilarious by nature of being idiots.
Yeah, totally.
Oh yeah, we probably have like the best comedians in the world. We're like number one in that. We're like number one. Like I still put Dave Chappelle as like our like, you know, Lord and Savior now.
That's insane. Yeah, that's insane. I won't agree with that. Yeah. But that is a very bold claim. He's our Lord and Savior, bro. He's our, if Dave Chappelle, because he does have two sons and a daughter, if they play video games and if they look up, Split Screen Gamers podcast, they'll be like, oh, they love our dad. Okay, we can, dude. That's what I'm hoping. Hey, let's see if we can get y'all think we can get Dave Chappelle on the podcast, bro?
Dude, that'd be funny. He'd be smoking a cigar, bro. He'd be smoking that cigar too. I would love it. I would post it on Instagram. Everything.
Before we move on to the next article here, I wanted to speak briefly on this idea that we can get. I want to reach out to developers, small indie titles, via Twitter, etc. That I've played their games on here on the channel before or not. Like to get on here and talk. Would you guys be down for that? And the listeners. Like, I think they would like that, but would you guys be down first? That'd be fun, to me, at least.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
That'd be fascinating. I would love to hear their process. Making a game is so like I can't even wrap my head around it.
Same here.
Story alone, but just especially the ones who create everything themselves. Like that's like I would be absolutely so interested to hear how they do that. Like what the process is.
Yeah.
It seems like one of the hardest things ever to do.
Yo, that might be the
so
next
much.
move. Yeah.
Pour your soul into this, you know.
Yeah.
So
There's
I would love that. I'd be so very interested and fascinated to hear what they have to say.
Same here, dude. Like, there's so much like cogged in the machines. Like, there's so much like things that have to like work in order for it to be a success. So yeah, I'd be down for that too. Which I actually do. There is another segment that I want to like pitch / is in that document that I sent you guys called Player 4. So that would be like a great way of like introducing them and whatnot to like the podcast and whatnot, and just be a big whole like, you know, we're asking questions and they're giving answers. So yeah. Dudes.
I'll definitely look into that and see if we can get someone on board, because I think that'd be super fun. I used to have a podcast where I was able to bring on some kind of like some people. Like, you'd be surprised, man. Like, what people are really willing to come on and do stuff. So I'll reach out, see what we can do. That'd be super fun. I think we enjoy that, and I think people would love to watch that. So before we get on to this, the main story of today, which is this marathon situation, bro, I wanted to talk briefly about what Hideo Kojima is working on, right? So if you didn't know, a Death Stranding anime is in the works. Hideo Kojima confirms, right? So while discussing the upcoming live-action Death Stranding movie, Kojima said he wanted to make a version of a Death Stranding story that is only possible in cinema, and that it should be accomplished enough to win respected film awards. Which we know he's a film buff because he posts all over his social media, film titles, etc. I'm currently working with A24 on a live-action film adaptation of Death Stranding. So when it comes to adapting games into visual medias, there are works like The Last of Us, which stays true to the original storyline, and films like the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which are more a service to fans of the game. While these works have their own merits, as a film enthusiast, I want to pursue the expressive potential of cinema. That's dope. I aim to create a Death Stranding that can only be realized through film, one that could win awards at festivals like Cannes, Venice, and in fact, we are also currently working on an anime adaptation. That's crazy. So he had previously mentioned anime as potential future medium for Death Stranding in an interview with Variety. To strengthen our IP, we're doing a sequel, and this is a game, right? So, you know, we're doing, you know, Death Stranding 2. He told publication in September 2024. So look, he's looking to make, he's willing to take Death Stranding to the limits. Long story short. So, which I think is cool. I think, you know, that here's a couple things that off the top of my head that I know Kojima is working on. Death Stranding 2, right? And then he has that collaboration with Jordan Peele, which is, he's always been a fan of cinema. He has a collaboration with Jordan Peele that we saw a trailer for that we have no more information on. We know it's some sort of, it's going to have a horror element to it. And then he is working on now an anime and a live action of Death Stranding. The story of Death Stranding, which Chandler, I want you to speak more about because you've actually beat the game. I've played it. Haven't beat it yet, but just because it's such, I don't have time. It's such a long game and it is different, but it's an acquired taste. But it's irregardless of all that, you can tell it's a piece of art. And so, and the lore is deep, and the cinematic quality of it is very, very apparent. So I'm excited to see what he does with this. I'm glad that he's pushing his IPs to the max when it comes to medium. And so I'm curious about what you think, Chandler, as a fan of the series, etc.
So first off, I'm a huge Hideo Kojima fan. Thank you, David. I'm a huge Hideo Kojima fan. He actually is, I know you mentioned like what he's been working on that you know of. He actually is working on a third game now. Which, he's actually, so it's speculative. It's not like a big old official announcement or anything like that, but it is like, if you know Hideo Kojima, you know for a fact that there is like secret game that he's making, and a lot of people are thinking it's going to be another stealth game, kind of like the Metal Gear series, which got a lot of people excited and whatnot. And there was even like a trailer for like, you know, his future endeavors with like creating like exciting games and whatnot. And it's like a really cool shot where it's on a drone. I need to send you guys the video so you guys can see. But it's like on a drone and it's pulling out of like this like film studio. and whatnot. And it's like showing like the studio lot and everything. And then once you get to like the entrance, I believe it's the entrance or the gate, there's like a name that's like, unheard of. It's very mysterious, and people are thinking like this is either like the project title, the official title for another game, or it's like a secret title that is not the official title, but it's like, code name for what he's making next. Yeah. That is going to be more action stealth-ish, kind of like the Metal Gear games, sure. Which that's what he's mainly known for, other than like Death Stranding. Like the Metal Gear games are like his like magnus opus, essentially. But he is working on like a third game, as well as like a second Death Stranding, and then that Jordan Peele game, which is going to be like a hybrid, super realistic looking horror experience, which I'm excited for, and it's with Jordan Peele. I mean, Come on, like, nope, Get Out. I wasn't a big fan of Us. I don't know if like any of y'all were a fan of Us.
I agree. Actually,
I was just not a fan of that. But I like Jordan Peele. Hopefully he's not watching this podcast.
Because if Jordan Peele wants to sponsor your movie, I'm sure you'd take it, right?
Yeah, no, I'll be like, hey man, I know you like interesting, stories and whatnot, specifically horror based, but hey, I got this script idea that I need you to read, dog. But not getting off topic. But yeah, no, Death Stranding, like, and this was a game that he developed after he essentially parted ways. And there's a lot of controversy with this, and there's a lot of story with Konami, which, if we're talking about like a studio with a lot of bad rap, Konami has that too. But they've also, they release mega hits. They release the Metal Gear games. They release Castlevania, Sekuden. They released like, they actually published like, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. They're the biggest publisher of like a trading card game. Yeah, of a trading card game, other than like, Wizards of the Coast with Magic the Gathering. So yeah, and Pokemon, of course. Those are like the top three. But yeah, they publish, the Yu-Gi-Oh cards and the Yu-Gi-Oh video games and whatnot. And they have like a bunch of other like franchises that they have. I think they also did Ape Escape. I might be wrong about that, but I think they did Ape Escape too. But yeah, they have like a bunch of games that they've published or helped developed internally or like externally with like third-party developers and whatnot. But yeah, Death Stranding is the game that he did right after he was done making PT, which that's a legacy on its own. But Death Stranding is like very unique. And you did say something that I do agree with you. He is like, his games are acquired taste for a lot of people to like get into and whatnot. Yeah. Not everybody's gonna like them, but I love them, and a lot of people else really enjoys them too. And it really likes Hideo Kojima as that auteur, like creative director for video games. But
for me, I actually think that Death Stranding, because as a gamer, I like gaming is anywhere from 30 to 60 hour commitment depending on who's making the game, and sometimes even shorter, of course. But I mean, like, usually that's what we're looking at for the big AAA titles. And so for me, it's like, I think a movie or anime is first priority being movie, because I love movies, but I think movie in terms of medium for Death Stranding is going to be where I fall in love with it, because Death Stranding as a concept is really cool, and I love how creative it is. It's so vividly original, and I think that, to me, that sounds like something I could dig my teeth into. I just don't have time to trek around America holding backpacks for 60 hours, and that's not a criticism. It's more so just like, if I'm playing a game, I want it to be, I have to have stimulation for a lot of it, because so much time and like. But for a movie, though, it's like I can go get my 2 or 3 hours in. And I would love if he made a 3-hour movie, by the way. I love 3-hour movies. But get in there, watch that movie, get into the lore of it all, see what because the game is like, the interactive aspects of it are what make it a game, right? Walking and driving and fighting, etc., and hiding, stealth, etc. But the story elements is like the meat and potatoes. So if he can like bring that all into one cohesive 2 or 3 hour movie or over a 10 episode anime. Like that to me sounds like something that I can really dig my teeth into. And so for other people who are even less gamers than I'm a gamer, but like some people don't play at all, and it's like for those people, they deserve to see and taste and to be in this world with that he has created, just like fans of the Last of Us TV show, or just like fans of, I won't say Super Mario because everyone knows that, but
yeah.
We had, I mean, there's even Assassin's Creed. I mean, look, those movies suck, but I feel like if someone made a good movie of Assassin's Creed, it's like it's a very good lore. I mean, it is very good lore. I don't know why I was speaking like a 13-year-old. It's very good lore. It's very, very fun. And so I know some people really feel they have mixed feelings on adaptations, and I do too, because they've sucked, and a lot of times, way more times than they've been good. But I think people don't give enough credit to games in terms of being artistic, and I think that it actually might be the highest form of art that we have now, because of it's like a painting. The reason I say that is because a painting is like from scratch. A lot of times they sit in front of something and they paint it, but a lot of people are just sitting in the room and they paint it from scratch. A game is that, but with every medium: audio, music, everything from the textures, the imperfections, the character designs, the acting, it's everything. When Chris said it perfect when he said, "I can't even wrap my head around making a game." Like, we make movies, and we take a camera and we shoot what we see in front of us, or what we set up in front of us, or a location that we built in front of us. But a game is like everything from it's like taking something at an atomic level and then building it into something, that we can consume. The content that is I think it might be the highest form of art that hasn't gotten enough praise yet. And so I hope that Kojima's like, yo, let's move it forward. Let's milk this in terms of medium. Let's put it in a game. Let's put it in an anime. Let's put it in a movie. And I love that he's doing that. And I feel like more people should do it. And I'm glad that even though I didn't like The Last of Us Season 2 overall, I'm glad that Neil Druckmann is doing it as well. You know what I mean? I don't want to get into that, but the first episode was great. The rest of the season was odd. It was oddly.
I feel like we can do a whole podcast about that.
I'm tempted to for our next episode, bros. I'm tempted to put that as our next just special segment where we just talk about The Last of Us.
Well, hey, if you guys are down, like maybe we do like a special shorter episode and we talk about The Last of Us Season 2 next week. If you guys are down.
Yeah, so I'm down for that. Yeah, cool. We can do that. Honestly, let's do that. I have so many opinions about that whole Season 2 situation, and just me and Chris have talked about it. I feel like way more, David. I feel like me and Chris have talked about it way more. But I want to hear you guys' thoughts. Let's catch up on it. But I know we're getting to the latter half of our episode, and I want to get into this marathon stuff. And look, it's a lot. It's a lot over at Marathon and Bungie. So Chandler, can you fill us in, bro? First of all, as someone who is not super into I watched the videos, I've read the news articles, but I feel like you are really invested in this, and I want to hear what you're thinking. All right, so when I pitched this segment idea to y'all, this is more of a let's acknowledge Bungie's past as well as acknowledge what they've become. And I know we mentioned Rocksteady earlier in this episode, and there's a good metaphor. There's a good saying, you can have this ship that you've made and you've been selling with and whatnot. This studio has this ship and the parts are different. The cells are replaced and whatnot here and there, but the one thing that hasn't been the same or hasn't returned are the people and whatnot. Is it still the same ship without those same people? And that's something that Rocksteady has encountered, where those same people that developed the Batman Arkham games are no longer there anymore. It's entirely new staff. It's a lot of inexperienced staff. It's a lot of people that have made other games that aren't at the quality of the Arkham games, which I've never played. I know I've told you guys that, and you guys are like, what? But I've never played like any of the Arkham games and whatnot. But literally that same situation is happening over at Bungie, where they're like the makers of like one of the most beloved like characters in video games is Master Chief.
Of course.
Like
what a goat freaking company, bro. Like Bungie, yeah. We could glaze Bungie all night, but like the thing is, it's like becoming a tragedy because yes, they did have those characters like Master Chief.
Yeah, and they also made Destiny, which some people loved it, some people didn't like it, and it was their first new IP right after working with Microsoft and making like the Halo franchise and whatnot, which Halo's gone off the deep end ever since they left and Microsoft took over with like 343 Studios or Industries or whatever they're called. Whatever they're called. I don't really care, but whatever they're called. But yeah, they've gone to the deep end too, that franchise. But yeah, Bungie is just continually like developing titles for now. Like it feels like just for Sony, because I think they I might be wrong about this, but I think they got bought out by Sony, but not like a full buyout where they only make exclusive
really?
It's weird. So they still own like full like a good 80-90% ownership of their company, but like if there's like a title that Sony's like commission, they get first dibs on it. Essentially, it's kind of weird. It's kind of flaky here or there, but like I remember Sony announcing
trying to take over everything.
yeah, like Microsoft does that all day, dude. They buy everything. They're like Thanos. They're like, give me these stones, but and snap, and it's gone. But I see that snap, David. I see your snap.
RIP to the crew, bro.
Dude, I get you, bro. I get you. Oh, I see, Marvel. Bro.
It's just Bryce's Marvel mug that's stickered to the crazy.
But
here it is. Here it is. Look.
Oh, you see it? Oh, snap. Okay, dude. Hell yeah. Hell yeah, bro. But going back to Bungie, bro, basically, like with this whole marathon controversy, it first started with like a bunch of like lukewarm reviews, like not so great, mediocre reviews of the game when they were testing it out. And then they did like a live stream, which went horribly wrong. Nothing was going right on that live stream. There was a lot of like audio issues and problems and delays and freeze frames. It was not a good way of presenting the game at all. Yep. It was a disaster. Yeah. And then you get this controversy where Bungie is apparently like plagiarizing, which isn't the first time that this has happened. They actually were accused of plagiarizing whenever Destiny was coming out with like certain like, like I'm gonna butcher this word, but like a lot of like signias and a lot of like texture or like a lot of like symbols and whatnot, and a lot of like concept off their art that they used for the game that they had like as BTS and whatnot, like that they like took from somebody else. There's like a lot of like controversies with like plagiarizing like other people's artwork, and definitely nowadays where AI is essentially like looking to the web and like copying and like reformatting and like changing up and whatnot, which it's very discouraging when you're an artist and a bigger studio is taking your art without pretty much praising you or like paying you for your work and whatnot. So it's very discouraging like that. And then Bungie themselves internally, there's so many problems, dude. But Bungie internally is their staff just hates working for them, bro. It's like the way they are like structuring like their workforce and their leadership, and it's just a very toxic work environment, and it's just like people aren't happy there. Like they're people like are not happy over there. Like they're quitting. They're afraid of like speaking out because they might get laid off, and like they've been intimidated by the staff above them, and it's just not a pretty situation over there. And then you hear this one like kind of not breaking news, but it kind of is breaking news. Sony's not interested interested in like giving them full like financial backing in terms of like marketing the game. Like, and you just wonder, like, that's such an odd choice for a game that I think is going to be exclusive for Sony. It's going to be another Concord. A lot of people are saying it's going to be like another Concord situation, but it looks like they're going to delay the game, and the game's not in a polished state. We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, there's like a lot of problems happening over at Bungie. And this is the first time that they've ever had so many issues with one of their titles. They never got this with Halo. They got some of it with Destiny, but they never got this with Halo. It's just interesting to see a studio that was such at a high and then just descending down to like a greater low and whatnot. It's just insane to me, man. It's just sad. So
yeah, bro. I look, man. The thing is, I don't know how much grace Bungie can continue to get. I think that like we're looking at maybe the ending point. Like, unless they make a drastic pivot, that is, when I say drastic, like they well, I can't even say that, because I mean, Marathon is a pivot. It's like they made a new IP and it's failing. Yeah. It's like they have to, like, we might be looking, like, how many games can you have that are like mediocre and not performing well before you just close it down?
Yeah. It's just scary. Also too. Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you. It also just, and I really want to point this out, but I do blame Bungie, even though I love Bungie, but I do kind of blame Bungie for this sameness that we had with a lot of like shooters in general. Like, definitely when it came to Destiny, because I felt like a lot of games were trying to copy the Destiny look, and some of them did well, some of them did not do well, and like overall, it just made a lot of like the future like first-person shooter games look mediocre and whatnot. Facts. And I feel like this newer game, Marathon, it's ironic because Bungie's to blame for the sameness, but they also like made this game feel and act like any other first-person shooter. And it's going to be like an extraction shooter too. Yeah. It's going to be solely multiplayer. So there's no story. There's no like, and that's bums me out because I'm like, I think Bungie was great at making good stories for their first-person shooter games. Like 100%, like definitely with Halo, man. Like, and they're just like, nope, we're just we're doing live service. So I'm like, well, that kind of sucks, which is one of the reasons why Sony bought them for their live service capabilities. And I'm like, okay, so they're just gonna deteriorate even more. I mean, Come on now, y'all. Come on now.
Bungie, you got to get it together. I'm almost tired of hearing about Bungie because every time Bungie comes out with something, it's like, it's either just kind of them trying this new weird thing that like no one asked for, like Marathon or whatever, and it's like, no, I don't know if anybody was really looking for that game, bro. Like no one was asking. Like
no,
everyone like
I forgot about it too.
Exactly. It's like they're just doing like a bunch of goofiness, and it's like they're all like, I don't know, man. Destiny 2 seemed to have a really good player base, and I feel like they should just continue to expand upon that world even more. Like just make it amazing. So like for them to just, Destiny 2 got transferred over to someone else though, didn't they? Am I tripping? Or is it?
No,
is it Bungie?
I think it was Bungie. Okay, I think it was still Bungie. Okay. Yeah, I think it was still Bungie,
Which
dude.
They should have just made that a great game over and over. Like they should have just, okay, cool, we're gonna support the game that makes us money, but they're like doing this game where they want to compete with the big guys like Fortnite and stuff, and it's like it's just not gonna work. Like you're not gonna get an Apex Legends, man, because those games have already had too much. They're too solidified in the culture. It sucks, man. It really does. I think Bungie had a great run, but I don't know if they got much more in them. Don't know if that game is still in the mainstream, if that style of game making is still applicable in today's world. It's almost like they should just repivot and make some like some Plants vs Zombies or something, bro.
Yeah, they really should just make like an independent title. They should just
Master
be
Chief
like
Sims.
Yeah, Master Chief Sims, man. They should be like obsidian with their like ecosystem and how they like design, like how they choose titles essentially to develop, because they'll do like a AAA game, but they'll also do like a AA and like a single A game too, which I like.
Just take Halo 3 or Halo 2. Take Halo 2 or Halo 3. Take all the core elements of it. Don't make it any different. Just make it higher quality. Take some of the same weapons, maybe add a couple different ones. Like, you know what I mean? Make it run at 60 frames per second. Make it battle royale.
Yeah.
Instant sale.
Something like that.
Instant sale right there. People want Halo 3 again. You know how many memes I get where it's like people saying like it's like they're showing an empty matchmaking lobby inside of Halo 2 or Halo 3, and I think it's Halo 3, and they're like you hear the music, the Halo music going, and it's like, yo, these are the old days, miss it. Like, sad that we had to see it go. People love those games, man, and so they just need to do that again. Make it exactly. Don't do nothing stupid, bro. Like, just make it exactly how you did. Add, like I said, add a little bit of leeway here and there. Add a cool gun here and there, and like see how people feel about it. Then add updates. You know what I mean? Later on, like, oh, we're gonna add a bazooka in this bit. You know what I mean? Like, like do it. Do the GTA 6 online or GTA 5 online method. Put that in there and be like, cool. Or Helldivers method. Yo, make it. Matter of fact, Halo 3, you got Battle Royale, and then you have a Helldivers mode, which is like it's waves of different aliens from the Halo world coming at you, balls deep, and you got to just shoot them. That sounds dope to me. But look, I'm just a gamer, but don't listen to me. Like, that's what I mean.
That'd be fun, dude.
Yeah.
I think me and Chris would appreciate that, actually. Like, just to have Covenant aliens and Helldivers, that'd be pretty sick, dude. That'd be pretty sick. And like have an armor set where it's the Master Chief armor, so it has like a double layer of protection.
Facts.
That'd be pretty dope. That'd be pretty dope, honestly. I'll be real. I've always had, whenever you were talking, David, I had this like vision in my head where I was a Covenant alien, but I wasn't just any Covenant alien. I was like a citizen of the Covenant, where I wear like a tie and a suit and whatnot, and have like a beautiful family and whatnot. And
it's the beautiful family part that's intriguing me a lot, because now it seems like you're just like applying this to your real life, like
like a beautiful family. But alas, Master Chief came by and he wrecked it all up, man.
Oh, dude, that's a crazy skit idea. Is like you set this whole like you spend like 6 or 7 minutes just like developing this family's like happy life as a Covenant alien, and then like like it's like the father goes out to work and he's like. He keeps looking at pictures on his holographic phone. And he's like, yo, like, my kids are beautiful and stuff. And then he gets back to work and this and that. And he looks up in the sky and you just see Master Chief ascending down like Superman and Man of Steel. Just ascending down on a jetpack just with a machine gun. And he points the gun and just shoots his head. And then it cuts to the kids back at home, like the Covenant alien kids, like playing, like running around playing a little Xbox or whatever. And they're like having fun, and like one kid is like bullying, and the mom's like, stop, and she throws a towel at him, like, stop. And they're being funny, and then all of a sudden they hear that bomb, and they look out, and the alien goes, Dad, and then the mom, all of a sudden the mom goes, what? And she looks, and her head gets shot off by a laser beam. And the kids get AK'd.
I just imagine like
someone throws a
they don't even speak English.
Oh yeah, the two kids run out the front door, and then the camera comes down and it's tracking them from in front as we track them backwards. And the kids, and then the camera rotates around, and you see that both the kids have plasma grenades on the side of them. And then it cuts to black, and all you hear is
cool. Master Chief. It's Halo 7. That's what it would be titled.
It goes Halo 7, Master Chief's Reckoning. It's like, and then it cuts to black, and it says Halo 7, Master Chief's Reckoning, and then Master Chief just like fades from black to Master Chief's helmet in red, and he's just looking down and looks up at the camera.
Yeah. Bro, that could save the franchise, bro. That could save the franchise.
Yeah, can we get Evil Chief, bro? That's what we need.
Evil Chief, man. Evil Chief. I like that.
Well, guys, I think that's it for this episode. I wanted to get into that last segment there, but I think we're running out of time here. Hope you guys enjoyed it. A lot is going on, but nothing is going to be as exciting as next week when we get Summer Games Fest. And so we're going to get something on the schedule here in the next couple days to talk about maybe our predictions, or maybe just hop on for a live stream where we watch the Games Fest together and discuss it afterwards. So, I mean, if you guys are down for that, I'd love to give that to the listeners and to our channel. What you guys think? We'll figure it out if you guys are available. That is next week, June 6th. There's a couple things happening as well. A couple days after that, like June 8th, Xbox is doing a live show there where they do the direct. But June 6th is the main day, and so we'll get into that later. As always, guys, you can watch other videos here on the channel. Other episodes are all posted within our podcast, Split Screen Gamers, here on Cult Culture. And me, myself, I play video games on the channel that you can watch as well. Haven't had time to play them. I've been spending a lot of time on this podcast and haven't had a lot of time to play the games. But I plan on jumping in soon as work slows down a little bit, and playing some new titles. So if you're interested in seeing that and me act like an idiot and be terrible at video games, cool, check it out. But with that being said, until next time, bye!